Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is January 21st, 2017. There seems to be a huge rally in D.C., a women's rights march. And what I find extremely odd is that CAIR is a big part of this march. Let me show you.
Among Donald Trump's worst nightmares. My name is Zahra Billu, and I speak to you on behalf of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, the nation's largest American Muslim civil rights organization.
Now, the reason I find this incredibly odd is that there was a video made not long ago, maybe a year or two ago, titled Honor Diaries. And what the producers of this documentary were doing was trying to show this in college campuses around the country in the United States. Well, it turns out that CAIR did not want this video shown because it shows the treatment of Islamic women. Let's check this out.
First on the Kelly File, growing controversy tonight over a film exposing the shocking violence against Islamic women, attempts to silence that film, and now attempts to silence us from telling you about it. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. This film is called The Honor Diaries, largely produced by and starring a diverse group of women with different faiths, backgrounds, and nationalities, all of them focused on promoting women's rights, especially in countries where women and girls are often subjected to something known as, quote, honor violence. Here's some of the trailer.
The concept of honor, it's very difficult to explain it to Western societies.
Anything from wearing short sleeves, refusing to wear a headscarf, being seen talking to a man. Those things can be deemed dishonorable.
Thousands of women have been detained for dressing un-Islamically. Like this woman screaming as she's pushed into a police car.
The honor system in Muslim majority societies is really the basis of a lot of harm that is perpetuated against women.
It's systematic, institutionalized misogyny.
I was crying and begging him to stop. Then he put his hand on my mouth like this. I couldn't breathe. I was crying, but he used me anyway.
The issue of forced marriages, child marriage, and honor abuse is a worldwide problem. When you do dissent with what is portrayed as mainstream belief, you are ostracized. There are threats of murder, there are threats of rape, physical mutilation.
That film's rollout began on March 8th on International Women's Day. In recent days, a growing number of critics have attacked the film. And now the Council for American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, has joined in an effort to shut down screenings on college campuses. First, the University of Michigan Dearborn postponed its screening. Others have since followed suit. The film's critics celebrating those victories on their social media sites.
So not only is this women's rights march ironically co-sponsored by CAIR, which is incredible, but they are not letting pro-life women march there and co-sponsor it.
That's right. This all-inclusive march for women has decided to exclude women who are pro-life. They erased from their website the name of a partner group, the New Wave Feminists, because they found out, and this is shocking, that these ladies are anti-Trump and believe in women's equality, but also believe in protecting life. Yeah, this women's march welcomes men who identify as women, but not women who identify as pro-life. A march for women, they say, is a march for everyone. If you believe women's rights are human rights, this march is for you too. That from the supporters of the march. Really what they mean is if a woman is pro-life, she's not a woman. If you're pro-life, you can't march with us. And this is their defense. Let me read it to you. The Women's March's platform is pro-choice, and that has been our stance from day one. We want to assure all of our partners, as well as participants, that we are pro-choice, as clearly stated in our unity principles. We look forward to marching on behalf of individuals who share the view that women deserve the right to make their own reproductive decisions. The anti-choice organization in question is not a partner of the Women's March on Washington. We apologize for this error.
Now, here's a crazy thing for you. This is the Healthcare Provider's Guide to Islamic Religious Practices, and this is from the CAIR website. Scroll on down here to page 15, and it says, abortions and stillborns. Muslims do not generally approve of abortion, although many would welcome other birth control measures. Now, none of this makes a bit of sense to me, unless you realize that all of these things are going on at the same time and funded by Muslim Brotherhood link groups, funded by globalist link groups, George Soros link groups, to put pressure on Donald Trump. That's what this is about. This is about the Marxist-Leninists who have teamed up with Islam. You see that by looking at Barack Hussein Obama's past. He was mentored by Frank Marshall Davis. Frank Marshall Davis was a card-carrying communist, Marxist, Leninist. The same thing goes for Valerie Jarrett. You see, you cannot get any plainer that the Marxists have teamed up with Islam. Look at Van Jones, Marxist, Green Jobs they're all Marxists and they're all Islamic. Now, these women are being used, but the Muslims are being used as well. You see, the globalists, Marxists, communists, Leninists are using Islam. The globalists are using Islam because they know what Islam was created to do, and that is to take over the globe by force and by stealth, jihad. And in turn, Islam through CAIR is using the women that have no clue that either this march is partly sponsored by CAIR or how Islam really treats women. And the perfect example of this that I can think of to show you is Chris Stevens. When Chris Stevens first went to Benghazi, his job was to be the envoy to Al-Qaeda. He was Al-Qaeda's representative. Chris Stevens was liberal. Chris Stevens armed Al-Qaeda and helped them overthrow Gaddafi. Chris Stevens was then given the job and a pat on the head as the ambassador to Libya. That is when he was killed by the very same people who he helped overthrow Gaddafi and who he armed. That is what Islam is going to do to these women all around the globe because, as you know, this march isn't just in DC. It's all over the globe. And all over the globe, these women are being used by Muslim Brotherhood linked groups. You have got to be joking me. And they don't even know this, do not know, are clueless about it. Now, that wonderful speech that Trump gave yesterday was indeed a threat to the New World Order. And they are doing anything they possibly can to put pressure on him. And everything that they've done over the years to invade America and the Western nations using Islam and taking it over is starting to fall apart. And now they're putting pressure on Donald Trump. And if you care about freedom, if you care about your country, you'll do whatever it takes to back Donald Trump. Go to his Twitter feed. Tell him what a great guy he is. I was unsure about him, but hearing that speech, it really pushed me into his corner even more. But I always like to see the actions. Listening to words is one thing, but seeing actions are another. And I do believe that they are really trying to stop Donald Trump in his tracks by putting out all of these protests. The Marxists, the globalists, the Islamists are very threatened by him. This is Call of Duty Goddess signing off, and as always, I've got your 6.